Yo, one life. How everybody doing? I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for hitting that like button, hitting the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the like or subscribe button yet, please do so. If this is your first time coming by the channel, we're glad that you stopped by. And let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. What I wanted to do right now, you guys, was kind of go into this updated interview that Nancy Grace has done talking about the Shanquella Robinson case, because if you pay attention, it's going back to everything that I have been telling you guys from day one. And they just keep, like they changing the narrative and stuff like they said. And I'm finna play it for y'all. Case closed. It's on Mexican authorities. When have we ever gotten anything from Mexico? It's a lot of key things that she said in this interview that's going back to what we've been saying over at One Life. Okay? So I want to kind of go into bits and pieces of it and speak on it and, let y'all hear what's going on. Because like I say, they still got to get... And it's a lot. It's a lot. But check it out, One Life family. Let me know what you think.
Told media that an arrest warrant was issued for the crime of femicide, the killing of a woman because of her gender. But you told me off air, Irv Brandt, I was telling you this whole scenario, how angry I was, nothing had been done. I talked to Shanquella's mother and her sister. They're grieving and they're mourning and they're angry all at the same time. I told you about it and you said, I've done a million of these. I guarantee you, it's Mexico. It ain't us.
100%.
Explain why you said that, because I hadn't thought of it that way. I have been 3 inches up these people's tailpipes where these women, we think, are hiding. 3 inches, calling, emailing. Why aren't you making an arrest? Why aren't you doing extradition? And when you said that, it all crystallized. It's not us. I'm betting it's not us. I agree with you. It's Mexico. When do we ever get a darn thing out of Mexico? Nothing.
Nancy, this goes on all over the world. And let me tell you, I spent years at International, in the Office of International Affairs, and Interpol.
It sounds terrible.
And I would travel halfway around the world. I would fly to Manila, or I'd fly to Bangkok, or wherever, for a single meeting, because OIA would send me, and they would tell me, Irv, we think you're the only one that can do it. We need you to go to Manila. We need you to talk with the Minister of Justice and ask them to get the paperwork in order for the extradition. Mm-hmm. We're waiting on this, just like we're waiting on this case. And I'd fly to the other side of the world and go and talk to the minister, who called me by my first name and had for years. And we would sit down and discuss the case. And just like this case, it would be 2 Americans who are no longer in the country, and they have issued a warrant, so they consider the case closed. They consider the case closed. They consider the case closed. And they have issued a warrant, so they consider the case closed. They're not interested in extraditing.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm trying to take in what you're saying. So basically, once Mexico issues the arrest warrant, they're like, hey, it's on the U.S.
Close.
Now listen to this, or I think that you're going to end up turning out to be right. Unlike Mexico and other Latin American countries, the U.S. does not have a law recognizing femicide as any different from homicide. And that doesn't mean that the killings are not deemed a homicide. But in the paperwork application, Mexico needs to charge it not as femicide, but as murder, straight out murder, so we can get... I guarantee you it's Mexico. I do not believe that authorities here would let this go unavenged. I just don't believe it.
No, Nancy, I'm telling you, I used to do this for a living. The Mexican, it's Americans involved. If it was an American killing a Mexican, there would be a lot of pressure on, they'd be doing whatever. They'd re-indict the case, however it was, to bring that person back down to have a trial. These are Americans, and they're gone. And they have issued a warrant. They haven't issued a red notice. They have issued the warrant.
What's a red notice?
So basically,
tell me, what is a red notice?
it's an international lookout. Let's say these people traveled to another country, left the United States and traveled to another country. And those people could be detained until Mexico. Let's say they went to Jamaica because they know they're wanted for murder in Mexico. And they went to Jamaica and they had red notices. The Jamaicans would detain them until the Mexicans government could bring them over. But since they're Americans, they just, I mean, there's no pressure. There's no public outrage. It's
You
not
mean no
high
public
on their
outrage in
priority.
Mexico?
Correct.
So
Correct.
they don't care.
So-
the only one that cares
so-
basically
well, I'm not
is
saying they
Shanquella's
don't care.
family. Yes, you are.
It's just not a high priority. And what I
That's
would
the
do
same thing.
yes.
You've got
what I
a
would do
beautiful
on behalf
dead
of
girl
OIA,
whose mother is
Yeah.
crying, whose sister is crying. They're in Huntersville, North Carolina, and I find it very hard to believe that North Carolina authorities are not trying to find these people. But the issue you believe is the extradition papers from Mexico?
Yes, I'm willing to bet on it. Because I would go and have meetings and explain to them the importance, how important it was to the United States. And I basically make a deal. If you submit the paperwork, we'll pay all the costs. We'll pay all the costs of the extraditions to come down. Many times when they'd agree, they'd look at me and say, "You owe me now." Okay, I owe you. Understood. I mean, that's how it would work. And I did that all over the world.
So, Irv Brandt joining me, this is your expertise. What can we do to get justice for Shanquella? I mean, I don't know what we can do.
I am confident. Well, it's the pressure, Nancy. It's just the pressure of you keeping it on the front burner. I'm confident that the Office of International Affairs is contacting them continuously, trying to get, the package, for them to get the package done so these people,
What package? What are you saying?
It's what the Mexican government has to submit to the Office of International Affairs. All their documents, all the probable cause, the video, things like this, all the legal documents for OIA to assign it to an AUSA to, work it up
An
for
assistant
an extradition
U.S.
warrant.
attorney. I mean, even
Correct.
the governor in North Carolina has weighed in. It's Governor Roy Cooper said his thoughts are with the family of a Charlotte woman who died in October on vacation. And where she was on vacation is a hop, jump, and a skip down from all the stars and the celebrities go to at Cabo. I always see Jennifer Aniston out there eating chips by the water in Cabo. It's beautiful. That's where they were. He says he's, quote, hopeful the FBI will solve the case of her mysterious death. It's not a mystery, Governor. Just look at the video. We've shown it several times. It makes me sick to look at it. Not knowing what really happened, well, that's a great concern. We know what happened. We all know what happened. Investigators in Mexico say an arrest warrant has been issued, but no suspect named. No one has been apprehended. And this was very recently. So what is the holdup? So, Irv, can you give it to me in a bullet? Hit me. What can we do? What can be done? I mean, the governor, God bless him, is saying, gee, I hope it all turns out okay. We need a little bit more than well wishes, Irv Brandt.
Short version,
Yes.
the United States cannot arrest on a foreign government's arrest warrant. The United States can only arrest on an extradition warrant issued out of U.S. District Court. And the only way for that to happen is the Mexican government has to submit an extradition request to the Department of Justice Office of International Affairs. Until they do that,
You just said the U.S.
Those
government has to
people
do it. I thought the
cannot
Mexican government would do it.
No. The Mexican government must submit an extradition request to the Department of Justice Office of International Affairs. So an extradition warrant can be issued at a U.S. district court.
Okay.
Until the Mexican government does that, the U.S. cannot do anything about it.
And it's got to be on a charge that we will extradite on.
Under the treaty.
We're not obviously not recognizing femicide. It doesn't come under the treaty, so it's got to be homicide. The U.S. State Department number, if you want your voice to be heard, is 888-407-4747. Repeat, 888-407-4747. We want justice for Shanquella. Goodbye, friend.
One life, family. You feel me? Just drop the bomb on you. You feel me? Because people be thinking that I just be talking. If you weren't paying attention, they just said they ain't even filed the necessary paperwork to arrest these people. And that's got to come from Mexico, who got to file it through the United States. Y'all heard what he said. The paperwork ain't even been filed to lock these folks up. Come on, One Life family. Just dropped another bomb on them.